The Long Island serial killer. In December 2010, a police officer searching for a missing woman along a desolate Long Island beach found 4 bodies instead. All women, all wrapped in burlap, all dumped within 500 feet of each other, and all were found. Over the next 16 months, investigators found 11 sets of remains in total. Some victims were identified. Some remained nameless. All had been dead for years. For 13 years, the case went cold. Then in July 2023, police arrested a man named Rex Heuermann, a Manhattan architect with a wife, 2 kids, and a house less than 20 miles from the dump site. He had been hiding in plain sight the entire time. But here is what is disturbing. Police had most of the evidence they needed to catch him for over a decade. So, why did it take 13 years? This is the story of the Gilgo Beach murders. Let's start with Shannan Gilbert. May 1st, 2010 at 4:51 a.m., she made a frantic 23-minute 911 call from Oak Beach, a wealthy gated community on Long Island. She was screaming that someone was trying to kill her. Shannan was a sex worker who had driven from New Jersey to meet a client. Something went wrong. She fled his house in her underwear, pounding on neighbors' doors, begging for help. One neighbor called 911 saying a woman was at his door, screaming for her life. Then Shannan ran into the marsh and disappeared. Despite 2 911 calls, police did not launch a serious search. They treated it as a missing sex worker who probably had just left. Her family begged them to search. They hired private investigators. For 7 months, police did virtually nothing. If they had searched immediately, they would have found what was waiting 3 miles away. December 11th, 2010. Officer John Malia and his cadaver dog Blue finally searched the area. Walking along Ocean Parkway, a desolate beach highway, Blue alerted to something in the brush. A burlap sack was discovered. Inside, human remains. Within 48 hours, they found 3 more bodies. All 4 were women in their 20s. All were sex workers who had advertised on Craigslist. All were wrapped in burlap and dumped along the same quarter-mile stretch. The victims were Melissa Barthelemy, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. They had gone missing between 2007 and 2010. They became known as the Gilgo 4. Whoever killed them had been patient, methodical, and careful. Disturbingly careful. As police expanded their search, they found more remains. A skull here, bones there. Eventually, 11 sets of human remains were scattered across the beach. Some were just body parts. Some had been there for over a decade. This was not random. This was a dumping ground. And the killer, they had been using this spot for years, confident no one would find it. The investigation exploded. The FBI got involved. Task forces formed. But leads dried up quickly. No DNA evidence on the bodies. No witnesses. No physical evidence connecting anyone to the crimes. The case went cold. Meanwhile, something else was happening that police did not initially connect. Before Melissa Barthelemy disappeared in 2009, the killer had called her family multiple times. Using Melissa's own phone, he taunted her teenage sister with the question, "Do you know what I did to Melissa?" He called from crowded places such as Times Square and Madison Square Garden, knowing the calls could not be traced. This was not just a killer. This was someone who enjoyed the game. Years passed. The investigation stalled. Shannan Gilbert's remains were finally found in December 2011, about half a mile from where she had last been seen. Police ruled her death accidental. They said she had become disoriented in the marsh and succumbed to the elements. Her family never believed it. By 2013, the case was essentially frozen. The task force disbanded. Leads evaporated. It seemed like whoever did this had gotten away with it. But then, in 2022, something changed. A new task force was formed with fresh investigators and new technology. They went back through everything: old phone records, witness statements, cell tower data from 2010. Technology had improved. What they could not analyze before, they could now. They started building a profile. The killer had called victims' families from burner phones, and those phones pinged cell towers. Investigators could map his movements. They found he had made calls from near his home, near his work, and near the dump sites. Then they found something crucial: witness descriptions. Multiple witnesses from 2010 had seen a man in a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche near where the victims were last seen. Surveillance footage existed, but it was too grainy to identify anyone. Still, they had the vehicle description. Investigators started cross-referencing everything. Who owned that specific truck model on Long Island? Who lived near the dump sites? Who had connections to Manhattan where some victims had last been seen? One name kept appearing: Rex Heuermann. Rex Heuermann was a 59-year-old architect with an office in Manhattan. He had lived in the same house in Massapequa Park, less than 20 miles from Gilgo Beach, since 1996. He was married and had 2 children. His neighbors described him as quiet, odd, but harmless. Police began surveillance. They watched him for over a year, building their case carefully. They obtained his DNA from a pizza crust he discarded in Manhattan. That DNA matched material found on the burlap used to wrap one of the victims, including a female hair later determined to be from his wife. They analyzed his cell phone records from 2009 to 2010. His phone pinged towers near where victims disappeared and near the dump site during the suspected disposal times. When taunting calls were made to victims' families, his phone was in those exact locations. They matched his physical description to witness accounts. He was 6 feet 4 inches, over 250 pounds, with bushy hair and an imposing presence. He drove a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche. And here is what is chilling. His wife and children were out of town, visiting family out of state, during every single disappearance, and during the times when the bodies were likely dumped. July 13, 2023. Rex Heuermann was arrested outside his Manhattan office. Police had been watching him walk into that building for months, waiting for the perfect moment to move. When police searched his home, they found a digital archive, including violent pornography, searches for the victims' names, investigation updates, and searches asking why the Long Island serial killer had not been caught. He had been following the investigation the entire time, watching police fail to catch him. Heuermann was charged with 3 murders initially: Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. In January 2024, he was charged with a 4th, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. But here is what keeps investigators up at night. They believe there are more victims. The other remains found at Gilgo Beach do not match Heuermann's pattern as clearly. Some bodies were dismembered differently. Some were dumped in different locations. Either Heuermann changed his methods over the years, or there is more than one killer. As of early 2025, the investigation continues. Police are looking into unsolved murders and disappearances up and down the East Coast. Rex Heuermann's trial is pending. His family has stated they had no idea. His wife has filed for divorce. The man who allegedly terrorized Long Island for over a decade lived an ordinary life. He went to work. He came home. He mowed his lawn. And for 13 years, he thought he had gotten away with it.